Where's Mike? Mike, Diane and Dementia number 20. Bargaining is the third stage of the Kubler-Ross grief theory. The individual makes a deal to avoid the cause of grief. If afflicted with a serious disease, they negotiate extended time for a reformed lifestyle. I will stop drinking. I will exercise. I will smoke less weed. I will stop cheering for the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team. As writer Kurt Vonnegut likes to say, and so it goes. Some have the audacity to negotiate with God, for example, to buy extra time for an important date. Dear Lord, let me remain on earth 3 months longer to attend my daughter's wedding. In return, I will attend Mass 3 times on the weekend. That sort of thing. Some trades are not so successful. Witness the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team. I'm not inclined to bargain. When I was a travel writer in the Middle East, and it was a custom and expected in countries like Iran and Israel, I refused. I adopted an all-or-nothing approach to life, which has produced mixed results. It started in youth, and a prime example concerned school. I finished first in all of my elementary grades. Despite living in an impoverished Toronto ghetto, I competed against all of the grade 8 students in the city and wrote an entrance exam for De La Salle, one of only 2 Catholic high schools at the time. De La Salle is located on Avenue Road, close to Upper Canada College, the educational bastion of WASP VIP children, who eventually run Canada's business world. Del was an all-boys school with approximately 900 elementary and secondary students. It catered to the Catholic elite. It offered only 2 classes in each of the secondary grades, one for the scholarship lads and the other for mere mortals like my brother, kicked out in grade 10. I passed the exam and was enrolled as one of the smartest Catholics in Toronto, as we joked amongst ourselves. I managed to get through high school by cramming for exams at De La Salle, mainly because of an incident in my first term. In the morning, I watched taxis drop kids off in their blazers and white shirts and ties. Sometimes I hitched a ride downtown with a friend after school in his father's car, a new Jaguar. What a wonderful smell. The leather, the solidness, the style, all the things that I couldn't have. Poverty sucks when confronted daily with peers who live at the other extreme of the social scale. Brother Bernard was my home form teacher who taught the bulk of our grade 9 subjects. A gaunt, intense, short, feisty, red-headed Irish monk whose tight, white collar flushed his face bright red. Fanatical, he obsessed with making us the smartest Catholics in the entire world. He worked us hard, piled on the homework, and his standards aimed at nothing less than perfection. Snarly and a strict disciplinarian, nobody dared cross him. At the end of the first term, we awaited our marks. Theatrically, he pulled out a long rope stored inside his desk drawer and methodically laid it out on the floor as a circle by the front chalkboard. This circle is for those with 80% and higher, he spouted with enthusiasm. When I call out your name and mark, walk into the circle. And with a flourish, he announced the top marks in the class and worked his way down. Excited by this hyperbolic rope ritual, I calculated I would indeed be invited inside the prized ring. He started with the top 2 students, Basil and Eddie, perpetually neck and neck at 98.9%, close to perfection. Basil narrowly edged out Eddie throughout high school, but I cheered for Eddie because Basil was a pain in the ass. I think Basil became an economics professor at the University of Toronto and Eddie a provincial judge. One of my encircled friends, Jerry, whom I played handball with, earned a PhD and taught at Harvard and then Waterloo University. Overall, it was a potent academic peer group. As Brother Bernard called out additional names, getting to the minimum of 80%, the circle filled. There were a few of us left out of a class of 30. In deep shock, I wasn't called. Not wanted on the voyage. Brother Bernard handed me my report card, which reads 79.9%, which I calculated amongst hundreds of marks possible, was 2 marks shy of the prized hoop. Face flushing, stomach churning, muscles tensed, I felt publicly shamed. Every day, I watched wealthy kids transported to Del in limousines and cabs. I heard classmates talk about summer camps and concerts and other social gatherings. My mother was a waitress. My father was a gambler. I wore running shoes instead of cleats in my first year of football. I lived in Regent Park, a subsidized housing ghetto. I had little self-esteem, and what little I had got kicked in the testicles. I thought, okay you asshole. That's it. Screw you and screw your bullshit circle. This is the last indignity. I no longer wanted to be one of the smartest Catholics in Toronto. I would not play the game. From that pivotal day onward, I shunned concern about marks. I crammed for exams and borrowed homework. And playing hockey all over Toronto and ushering downtown at the Imperial Theatre kept me away from home most nights of the week. It was risky. My marks fell drastically, but I was clever enough to get by. After 5 years, I was almost not admitted to university because my overall marks in 9 subjects were low except for English. That was a classic example of my all-or-nothing attitude. That doesn't help anymore, and I don't want to remain stuck in Kubler-Ross's anger phase. And since the stages are not linear, I have already experienced the 4th stage, depression, headed for the last component. This is a YouTube video based on my Facebook entries on dementia. I welcome your thoughts and prayers. If you are engaged in similar struggles, I also welcome your likes and suggestions. Thanks for watching.